Good afternoon, everyone. As you can tell by the title, this video is on assessments. It is also a collab. I would like to thank Kay over at Shim Homeschool Academy. She was gracious enough to join me in my collab, and hopefully this will bring you some insight on assessments. There are a couple of different reasons why you would assess a child, especially if you're just starting out and they're preschool, kinder, first grade level, as well as different methods. Because really at that age level you don't really test them, use standardized or formalized tests, because it's not necessary and they're not ready. However, you may need some sort of guideline. So pretty much as a homeschool parent, you observe your child on a daily basis, and you can probably determine pretty accurately areas that that they're strong in, or that they could use some maturity or additional help. Their verbal interaction with you and their hands-on activities, their written work, and if you do little tests, I know some curriculums have little tests in them at the end of the unit. Those goals are, those achievement goals are all informal indicators of their progress. But sometimes, you find it, reassuring to have some sort of guideline for an academic milestone, in the way of, just a basic checklist. You want to evaluate their progress in different subject areas and their character development, and for little ones, like their gross and their fine motor skills. Some states, even the law, require you to, maybe once or twice a year, to show, sometimes once a month possibly, to demonstrate their academic progress. And some states even require standardized tests. So, you may want to conduct a little formal assessment just for your own purposes, and that way you can, get a feel for where your child is, a baseline, and also, if you need to switch some things up and, move them around appropriately. And that there are pretty much different ways to, like I said, different ways to test a child. Of course, the most common is on paper, but visual, that's best for a visual learner. Some kids are better hands-on. You have to see. You may do something with them and then let them make something, and you can determine how well they learned in the process, a science project or what have you. Some kids are auditory and they need to be assessed that way, because pen and paper just might not cut it for them. But there are the three most common methods of assessment: standardized testing, evaluations, and portfolios. And I know a lot of people are on the portfolios as a way of, keeping track of their day-to-day, month-to-month progress for their state guidelines. And that's an excellent way to do it. You can have keep your records that way. Some states require, the standardized tests and things like that, or evaluations. And that's just simply to, see how they're progressing. And it shouldn't be something rigorous that's stressing the child out, stressing you out. But it gives a bigger picture. Some kids are on the I don't like to use grades, grade levels or grades, but you may start a child off in one, kinder, from the beginning, and a couple of weeks later they may be far beyond that, but you wouldn't know that because you're thinking, well, you're only 5, or you're only 4, or you're only 6, and this is, where you should be. You could be holding that child back. If you assess them regularly, then you can see, that, okay, they need a little more challenge. And it's okay to move them along. And that's the beauty of homeschooling. You don't have to, fit that box. For some parents, if your child started out in public school and you pull them out, and you are just not really sure, based on just the homework they brought home, where they are, what they've learned, what they're capable of, you would want to do your own assessment. Because again, just because they're sitting in that first grade classroom, they're only capable of doing what that teacher is going to allow them to do. They may be further on the spectrum than that, and you wouldn't know it until you evaluated them. And you may have pulled them out for behavior issues, quote unquote, and it may not be behavior issues. Is the fact that the child was bored because they are beyond what that teacher is teaching. So different, like I said, different things that you can do. I am going to show you what I use, and let you get a feel for this, what you can come up with. And things don't have to be formal. They should be very informal, especially at a young age. It's just a guideline. You can follow a scope and sequence. Generally, you should get what am I trying to think of? Milestones. Milestones are also good indicators. That's information you should be receiving from your pediatrician. And if you aren't, you can always ask. But that's something that should come, at regular well checks. You should be getting things like that. And you can ask. And our doctor is very good about asking, are they doing this? Are they doing this? Are they doing this? And, with as many kids as I have, sometimes things can slip my mind and I might not pick up on it. And she'll say, okay, is so-and-so, doing this? And I just take for granted because all of them have done it. But it is very helpful for her to give me that reminder and say, this is where they should be at this point. So let me jump right in and show you guys some of the assessments that you can use to assess your child. Now, I keep things in a binder because it's easy for me to get to. And I can just pull out what I think I need to check on. you know, per kid. And I just keep the masters in here, and if I need to, some of the things I do with them orally, some of the things I may have them actually do something with. But basically, let's see, this is pretty much preschool, and I use this with the 2-year-old. Okay, like I said, this child is an exceptional 2-year-old, so that is the reason why I'm trying to keep up with her. I'm not suggesting that you do this with a 2-year-old. This is my child. So this is why I assess her on a regular basis. And sometimes it's just every couple of months, but for the most part, I do at least every 6 to 8 weeks. I will assess them just to see if we're on track, mainly the 5-year-olds, to see if we're on track and what we need to do. And in fact, it was very helpful this past couple of months, because they have all advanced above where I wanted them to. Or not where I wanted them to, but where I planned according to my lesson plan. Let's say I kind of figured we would top out in December with the lesson plan I wrote and showed you guys in the summer, and we did. They, you know, we work every day, sometimes all day, so we just ran out of things to do on that lesson plan, so I had to build on it and raise the well, I don't want to say the expectation, but the level, the learning level. So this is just an alphabet assessment. So you would go in and just ask them, and you can check off, you know, the letters that they don't know, and then you know which letters that they need help on. Also lowercase, and then the number recognition, and then the counting 0 to 5, 6 to 10. Yeah, we know all of those. Red or colors and shapes. And so at the 2-year-old is she's comprehensive, completely comprehensive on this assessment. I'm just showing you may have to use this for a 3, 4, even a 5-year-old, because not all children develop the same way. This one is available at prekinders.com. This one is more or less a child that is, I would say, K5. Okay, because I'm using this actually with my 3-year-old that's almost turning 4. I used it with the twins when they were 4. It's uppercase, lowercase recognition. The sounds, which I am focusing on with the 3-year-old and the 2-year-old, and the writing of the alphabet with the 3-year-old. We're working on the sight words, just basic sight words, decodable words, rhyming words, and writing. It says use the spaces between words, beginning sentences with a capital letter. Picture matches in the meaning. Writes a complete sentence. Writes more than one sentence. Some of this, I have another assessment, but some of this I'm still working on with the twins that are 5. Their reading level, you write down term 1, 2, or 3 according to whenever you assess them. Let's see. This is on your writing, capitals. If they are, let's see, knowing where to begin to read a sentence. If they're reading left to right. If they are pointing to the next line. Some kids will skip a line. So if they're able to do that, then you would check that off. I'm not saying that, they started out knowing this in the beginning of the year. But as time went on, yes, I had to teach them. If they can identify patterns, A, B, B, ABC, ABB, that type of thing, and we do a lot of that, and a lot with in math and things like that, and then the extended patterns, and they can count to, at kindergarten level, most children should be able to count to 100. Counting objects, can you count objects, yes or no? And then the positional words, and we have a lot of resources that deal with this, and manipulative, so we're on that. The preschool book that I'm using, the curriculum that I'm using for the 3-year-old, covers all of this. Sorting objects, recognizing, we're on the number recognition, and writing. Shapes, 3D shapes, we have down, everybody knows those. They're 2D shapes, and then the addition and subtraction. And then non-standard measurement. And so whatever your child cannot do, I would suggest that you follow your state guidelines. Every state has guidelines as to what the child should know. There should be scope and sequence. I use our, even though I'm not teaching school, I follow a certain school district scope and sequence, so that I know, okay, they should be on this track and they should be on that track. And that's just out of habit from teaching in that school district. That's just something that I do. You don't have to do it that way, but for reference purposes, that's a great way to do it. Alright, there are also assessments that are broken down into by subject, kind of, because little ones are not really, they shouldn't be doing too much subject. It should be writing and reading, some math, and their phonics. So this one is a phonics assessment, and you would basically take it out at the beginning of the year, see where they are, bring it out in break time just before the holidays, and test them again. And it tests on their onset and rhyme, CVC words, blends, digraphs, blends and digraphs, the bossy R, the CVCE, vowel digraphs, vowels, diphthongs in the closed syllables, open syllables. Some children, this may be end of kindergarten, first grade. End of first grade. So I'm just, putting it out there. I'm not saying that this is what they should be able to do. Then it is a guideline. This one is by This Reading Mama. Excellent. This is an excellent phonics assessment, in my opinion. Another one. Let's see. Oh, she also gives the directions on how to assess them. So this one is for K3. This is also from This Reading Mama. Excellent, excellent. And you're basically going to use the assessment for K through 3 readers. So they need to be able to, their reading ability. You need to factor that in. Some of this may have to be oral, in which case you know that they need to be brought up to be able to read it if they can't read it. So there's that. And then the rhymes. And basically you just give them the, it's in here, the rhymes that you can cut out and put them there, and they're going to make words. And yes, some of them are going to be nonsense, but that's what you need them to do to be able to see if they can make words and nonsense words. So there's the third page of that. And then here we have another thing I suggest, this kindergarten readiness check. That's just basic knowledge. Like I said, what the things that the pediatrician would suggest to you, just to see if they're cognitive in certain areas. This one is social, emotional. Shares and takes turns, but may not always want to. Has very basic understanding of right and wrong, beginning to compromise or negotiate with friends. During conflict without an adult's help, is more aware of others' feelings, shows empathy. Pretend play, preserves through tasks for a longer period of time, controlling frustration. They can play games with simple rules. These types of things are things that let you know, okay, they are ready to move on. They should be able to do these things. Fix a bowl of cereal, self-sufficient in the bathroom, helps out with chores around the house, dress independently, brush teeth, brush hair, knows full name, address, and phone number, beginning to learn about emergency numbers. Because once they are, if they are public school, they are expected to know these things. So, physical, fine motor, holds writing utensils correctly, pens or graphs. That's one that, children are, that's a developing skill. So, some children don't develop that fully until they get 5-6 years old, first grade level. So it's something that they need to be working on. Holds scissors correctly, cuts out a simple object or shape, uses glue stick, colors within lines, traces objects. Gross motor, can run in an adult manner, walk on tiptoes, jumps over an object, a broad jump, catches a ball the size of a tennis ball or beanbag, catches with hands, not arms, balance on alternate feet with eyes open and closed, walk heel toes successfully. So these are points that again, they should be skills that they should be developing from birth onward. And a lot of this has nothing to do with quote unquote homeschooling. It's just things that you should be doing with your child to teach them how to do these things. They should know how to catch balls, and they should know how to eat independently and put on clothes, even if they're putting them on wrong or backwards. It's okay. They should know how to put them on. This is brought by me and Marie learningblog.com. And then here's the academic part of it. Knows full name, address, and phone number. Recites alphabet. Orally counts to 10. Counts objects to 10. Writes names, shapes, and colors. If they're understanding positional words. Sorts by color. Recognizes numerals up to 10. Identifies some letters of the alphabet. Understands the concept more or less, short or longer. They can find an object that doesn't belong in a group of like objects. Language, they be able to speak in complete sentences, and hopefully that you have picked up on long ago. And they have gotten speech therapy if they need. Able to follow verbal directions, recognizes rhyming words, looks at pictures in books and makes up a story to go with them, identifies the beginning sounds of some words, recognizes some familiar words in print such as stop on a stop sign or store signs, uses language to categorize words. A cat is a type of animal. Uses language to describe words. A bus is big, yellow, and has lots of windows. Uses language to define words. A pencil is something you write with. Expresses feelings and emotions in words. Recites or sings familiar songs or poems. Writes using pictures or familiar letters. Now, this list is pretty much what this covers. This is just in a chart form. Some people may prefer it this way. Some may like the checklist. And so that's why I'm showing you different ways. You know, you can these things here, you can know if they're writing, if you're using workbooks, you know if they can write their names, if they can recite the alphabet, you know if they can count, you know if they can name their shapes and colors. If you're giving it to them in worksheets and workbooks and things like that, you're watching them do that. So you can just go down the list and check off if they're proficient or not. This one is another reading assessment. This is a comprehensive reading assessment. Capital letter recognition, lowercase, letter sounds, sight words. Okay. And then over here you have your rhyming words, syllables. They don't have to be able to write. You can write the stuff in yourself. I can segment syllables in spoken words. Monkey, 2. Okay, if they can do that, then you know that they're ready to move on. CVC word blendings, and so on. I think this one that's actually my middle of the year. So you want to, like I said, assess them. I do every 6 to 8 weeks. You can do 3 times a year. This is actually my beginning of the year one. And you would start out, if you're just now starting homeschooling, this is what you would do. You know, pull out whatever. Do they know the alphabet? Can they recognize the letters? And so on. How many words do they know? And you just, you know, put that away, and when you are schooling them each day, you look at your checklist and make sure you're covering those points so that the next time you assess them, you're covering what they missed. And so here's the math assessment. Colors, shapes, numbers. The rote counting, I can count too. How many objects. So, I mean, these things, days of the week, months of the year, the seasons, you can find a lot of different types of assessments. Whichever, you know, however detailed. Ordinal numbers, coin identification, coin value, number words, extended patterns, identify patterns, positional words, you know, however you want it to look. There's pretty much plenty. Let me move it along. So, of course, you see I have several copies. Here's yet another one. This one is awesome. This one is found at School is a Happy Place Blogspot. And you're running records, make your comments, your dates, you know, what have you. They have the little stars for their scores. I don't suggest, you know, saying, come on, let me give you a test or let me assess you. Just kind of, you know, ease into it and just, I'd like you to look at this and can you tell me this? That way the child is not nervous and they don't feel like if they don't get something right, then, you know, they're in trouble, or, you know, some kids just don't do well when it comes to tests or even assessments. But if you're teaching, you know, you're instructing them every day, then what you are assessing them on, it shouldn't. And so you have your sight words. You can, you know, color these in or let them color in. Once they hit that, you know, I can read the pre-primer Dolch words, the primer, first grade, second grade, third grade. And then you have your sight words, your record sheet. And then I have a list of the pre-primers in here. Put the date down, their score, primer, first grade, second, and then third grade. And then their letters and sounds once they do that. You can put the date along the ribbon. That way, she includes letter screening in here. You want to know the consonant names and sounds. You do a first screen, second screen, and it's for upper and lowercase. And she also includes, you know, third or fourth if you need to evaluate that way. So here are the pages. We would just point to the letters and see if they could tell you. So basic black and white, you don't want too much color. But yeah, name the vowel sounds. And we just finished up vowel sounds. And then your digraph plans. And then your vowel variants. And their letter writing, you want to see how well they write. You may or may not want to use this. It's just totally up to you if you're fine with using whichever, if you're using workbooks or what have you, or just notebooks, the writing notebook, handwriting notebooks, that's fine. But it's there for use in the packet. And then math skills, I know the numbers 1 to 120. I can identify 2D, 3D objects, measuring, telling time, place value, basic fractions. And we just went through basic fractions formally. And then their hundreds chart, you see 120, where they would write the numbers out. And again, if you need this type of information for your state, this, like I said, this is a good deal because it's all in one packet and you don't have to stress about, I need to pull this, this, and this together. Use this as your counting chart. And this one, it says it can be administered with the group. So if you have multiple children, as I do, I have twins, you dictate the instructions, color the circle blue, put an X on the pentagon, color the oval black. So we went through this actually with all of them, and 2, 3, and 5-year-olds. Fractions and telling time. You want them to be able to split it in half with their pencil, thirds, fourths, and so on. Here's time. Have a crier. Non-standard measurement, where you would give them a ruler. Hello, did you wake up from your nap? Sit her down. I'll set the camera down a second here and pick you up. Oh, big girl, big girl. Okay. Let's finish. Place value. Math fact fluency. This is something that she does each month. And a gold sheet. So little ones, you most likely would just ask them what they would like to work on and the date, and you know, go back and see if how they've progressed. In the beginning, some children that don't know how to write, that may be their goal, to learn how to write the alphabet. You go back a couple months later, let them fill it in. I can write the alphabet. Some may be reading, and so on. So school is a happy place is where that is from. And like I said, that is an excellent assessment. There are also, lastly, books. Like I said, this is a collab, so make sure you check out the collab. I have reading placement test, first grade here, put out by Scholastic. It assesses their levels in phonics, vocabulary, and reading comprehension. It gives directions for administering the test. You get an overview. I'm sorry, let me move this up. There's your step-by-step. Beginning sounds, ending sounds. And so you may, you know, come across something like this and want to do by book. And that's an alternative. Some of your workbooks may have things like this, where they would find something that it would give the instruction and say, you know, circle this, color this blue, cross out this, and that's basically what they're doing on these type of pages. And there's their vocabulary and phonics. Comprehension, what's going on in the pictures. And then they have answer keys in this one. And then here's your diagnostic placement scoring chart, and your summary. And then you get your number of responses and things like that. And this tells you pretty much what to do once you get the results. And here's a survey in this one. Record form. So this is as you are assessing them. Reading and decoding. And your percentages chart. Like I said, this is put together by Scholastic. The back, you can also find Kinder, and that's pretty much a full assessment. Here's reading for second, third, 4 through 6. So sometimes comprehensive assessments are, you know, good. It's just a good baseline like these for the younger age. Give you all around. You don't need too much. But for the older ones, once they get 2nd, 3rd, 4th grade, you can pretty much do the same thing. Just, you know, quiz them often. And you can find assessment books, placement tests, because sometimes, like I said, children are advancing further and faster than you think. And you may get to a point in a book, you know, we are in a certain grade level math book, and I am just going to say, we're just going to take these tests because I think that they are proficient enough to just take the test. And then if they don't master the test, then I know, okay, I need to go back and backtrack and actually get them where they need to be. But that's just by me observing them on a day-to-day basis and what they are learning. I'm not just going to say, let's open this book and take the test because we want to fly up to the 5th grade. It's more or less what I'm watching them do, their skill level and their intelligence level. So hopefully this has given you some insight on how and when to use assessment tests. Hold on, you are hanging on to me. Hold on. I'm sorry guys, holding on to this baby. But yes, hopefully this is giving you a guideline. And like I said, you can use these things for state, you know, if you need state records and things like that. This is a good way to go because it's all inclusive. And you know, oftentimes for little ones, they don't need a whole bunch of things. They just want to see that you're doing something. And include this in your child's binder. And later on it'll be things like work samples, things like that. But that is the conclusion of this video. Please do not hesitate to leave me your comments. Don't forget to check out the other part of the collab. Also leave comments there. If you like these videos, you like the collab, don't forget to thumbs up the collabs. And we will see you guys in the next videos. Bye.